Welcome back to Newsmaker Live with me, Kendal Berton. Our guest this evening, the Acting Prime Minister, Honourable Philip J. Pierre. Before the break, you mentioned that the scandals have gone. Have they really? Because we had a number of issues. We had the visa verification issue. We had the village and town council issue leading up to the election. Was a hot issue, hot topic. You made promises. Revelations would be made. Heads would roll. Names would be named. Is there a lot of hot air being blown and no delivery?
Yeah. You may want to say that for now. I don't think that's no delivery. I think it's processes. These things, you know, the last government made a whole, spent millions of dollars on a commission of inquiry. Millions of dollars. I mean, what has happened there? Nothing's happened. But what you want to do, what we're doing is a process. But I can tell you that the processes are ongoing and continuing. I can't make any definitive. I will not make any definitive statements. And we've been very careful. We've been very careful in that we do not want to accuse. We do not want to accuse anybody wrongly. So the processes are happening. The investigations are taking place. And when the time comes, justice will prevail when it has to prevail.
Okay. You also mentioned the need for St. Lucians to adjust to the economic situation. A lot of belt-tightening suggestions or recommendations have been made. What are you doing as a government to lead by example? Sure.
First of all, let me get to a government, and in fact, the last government also. Government ministers have not got a pay increase in 1999. Right? The government ministers have not got a pay increase in 1999. And I said government ministers. I didn't say Labour Party ministers. I want to be clear. Right? That is an example that is exemplary. Is exemplary in that 1999 and 2014, everybody has got a pay increase except government ministers. That's one. Secondly, the government is tightly monitoring expenditures, phone calls. I don't want to go into tell you the decrease in my office. My particular phone, my government phone bill, I think the highest it reaches when I travel is $300-something per month, right? Phone bills for party ministers was $4,000, $3,000. Some ministers had phone bills of $12,000, $14,000 a month. Yes, ready. Okay. Ready. You understand? That is we've decreased. Use of government vehicles. The government ministers do not use government vehicles for private use. Tonight I'm out here, although it's a private, I have my private vehicle. We do not use government ministers for private use. Ministers do not do it. A lot of people complain we should. We are this and that. In fact, I never forgot my vehicle was done a few weeks ago, and then there's a friend of mine in the church, an elderly gentleman, driving a self-hard vehicle. He said, "Where's your vehicle?" I said, "It's done." He says, "Why don't I have a government vehicle?" I say, "I'm not allowed to." He says, "You are the government." I said, "No. So listen, these are little things that people don't see, right? That's true. Thirdly, the government is leading by example in terms of traveling. You may think that government ministers travel. I can assure you, that government ministers do not travel half of the time that they ought to travel, right?
Because you did come under some criticism from the LPM recently for that.
Yes, we do, which is again without any facts. I cannot lie to like the Ministry of Tourism. I can lie to you travel, compare the travel expense, and you see what happens. But we don't want to go into that. We think that is not. I think that's water. Well, not water on the bridge, but I think we have more important things to deal with. We can go every day and come out with something that happened. There's a lot. I can assure you, there's a lot. There is a lot. But we have work to do. Government can't get consumed in dealing with infractions of the last government when the country is suffering. But we're trying not to allow that to happen by putting adequate systems in place for that not to happen. I'll tell you something about waste. You heard today about, and I'm very sorry that we have to go into that again, about the situation regarding the hotel, Robert Properties and the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. That was an episode that was very, very, very sad. And it's been revived. We were in Parliament on Tuesday where we sought to float an $18 million bond to pay for some of the properties that the government had taken. Today, I heard on the radio, and again in the Parliament, there was a whole different atmosphere in the Parliament last Parliament meeting, at least between most members of the opposition and the government, except one. Here's what the government said. The Prime Minister was clear. He said, listen to me. You tried to go into a business venture that failed. There are lessons to be learned. The Prime Minister said that nothing illegal was done, but wrong decisions were taken that has cost the country $48 million. Now, today I heard on the radio that the government wanted to pay $10, wanted to sell land for $10 to the investor, and the United Workers' Party stopped it. That never happened, and that is very far from what really happened. If you bear with me, I will tell you what happened. The government of the United Workers' Party acquired land from three entities: Roebuck Properties, they acquired land from a group of private investors, and they acquired land in Kendal. The land was in Black Bay, Labrie, and Miko. In total, 465.45 acres of land were acquired, and from Roebuck Properties, from private people, the land that was acquired from private people, it was acquired from, I don't recall names, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 private people. The land that was acquired from them cost 24. It was valued as $24 million. Now, then the government acquired from a Jamaican company land valued at 18 million EC dollars. In total, compensation had to be paid to Roebuck Properties Limited in the sum of $31 million, and that is 31 million EC dollars, 11,700,000 US dollars, which totals $41 million EC dollars, and $18 million worth of land from the government, had to be paid to the international investor, which is a Jamaican company. Good. Now, where was the government involvement? The government involvement was the NDC lands that the government would have sold to the investor. NDC lands. That didn't happen, so the lands remained in the NDC, and the government had to pay these private investors $41 million in one way, and that is the truth. Now, the intention may have been honorable. The intention may have been to spur investment. It may have been honorable, but the fact is, mistakes were made that cost the taxpayers money. Right. Now, in the Parliament, the Prime Minister was clear. He said, basically, let bygones be bygones. There are lessons to be learned. But you find people are bringing it back up. For what? What reason? How can you defend? How can you defend the Sanusian public having to pay private people $31 million worth of land for investment that didn't go right? So it's things that these are things that, but that was finished. It was said in Parliament that is finished. Let's move on. But you bring it back up. So what do you do?
Okay, let me remind the viewers that the lines are open. You can call anytime if you have any questions or comments on the topics being discussed this evening. Our guest is the Honorable Acting Prime Minister, Honorable Philip J. Pierre. We're discussing a number of issues. We were speaking about VAT on medication. We spoke about some of the scandals that have rocked the previous government, increasing investments, a number of subject areas. You're talking about learning from mistakes. You have a call. Hi, good evening. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you, brother?
Very good, thanks.
Philip JP, how are you?
I'm okay, sir.
I'd like to make a point.
Please.
Do you know a place called Leclerc?
Yes,
Mr. Pierre,
uh-huh.
I would like to know what are the plans for the Cleary concerning relocation of residences and so forth.
You refer to the CDC
You mean the
residents?
CDC residents?
There's a house.
The housing
there's a field,
scheme?
there's quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are the plans for them? I listen off there, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
thanks.
Okay.
I know the Minister of Housing, the Minister of Housing has a plan to build housing infrastructure in that area. But I want to tell you again that there's serious fiscal realities you have to deal with. I just made a point a while ago that the government has to bring down that current deficit so that deficit can be, so that the government can get some fiscal space. The fiscal space is very tight now. And how you bring down the deficit is by reduction of expenditure. Now, when you talk about reduction of expenditure, I heard today we employ members of the executive of the Labour Party. I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means. I really don't know what it means. I don't know what it means. I like the people identified. I don't know what it means. Secondly, I've heard today that we've given jobs to people, jobs for the boys, etc., etc. That, let's suppose that's true, and it's not. It is minuscule compared to the way we have to reduce that deficit. There is the largest share of that deficit is salaries and wages, and the government is clear that we have to protect the work. We have to protect workers of this country. We get criticized for it, but the fact is we have to protect the workers of this country.
Okay, let me cut you short so we can take another call. Good evening, caller. You're on the air.
Night, Brother Kendal.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir.
What's on your mind tonight?
I want to thank you first of all for giving the minister some water. I thought for a while, you'd have left him, bathed him without drinking any water, Brother Pierre, good night.
Good night, Conrad. Good night.
Yes, sir. I just want to say special thanks to your government for supporting a charitable organization in which I spared. I believe the persons whom I take care of, they are in a good position to know that the government are supporting them to ensure that the longevity of this organization stands. However, I must say that the people of St. Lucia, though they may not receive the full better days which was promised by the government, but there are signs of better days, and I feel that in order for the people to feel the full force of the better days, I think they need to give the government time, and they need to start to focus in on giving this government another term in office to really, because this government is, has inherited it's like a house. You all enter a house without, no toilets, the kitchen, the sink mash up, no louvers, the roof mash up. So I think you all are doing a very good job so far. And I want to say to you, Brother Pierre, I have a lot of respect for you. I find that your integrity, in spite of what you make sure you lead by example, and I want to wish you and your government all the best in future endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you. Thank you, caller.
Yeah. So we're talking about reducing spending, and how do you justify that, especially in light of some of the criticisms you've gotten about the government being willing to pump $3 million into LIAT? You can answer that after we take our next call. Good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, Philip, Mr. Piff,
Yes.
congratulations to you, man, because really, I am a labor at heart. I love the government. I love what they're doing. But what happened with me, I have been one of those that have had the grunt of the previous government felt. To my house, I have a little entrance where I have to come in, and the previous minister actually, because he knows that me and my family, we are those that support this government, because we know this government is the government that makes that work for my country. And it is not happening. And what I'm trying to say is, recently, I don't know, we want to get that thing done. But what I want to say is, I want to congratulate this government. I want to congratulate you, because you're a man I have enough respect for. because I know you not now, I know you, I have worked for you in the past, and I know you're a man of your word, and you're a man that believes in what you believe. And I want to say congratulations, that I never had that chance as a member of the St. Lucia Labour Party. I never had that chance to tell you congratulations. Keep up the good work, keep doing it real, and keep making it work for our people in our country, so that we can be Labour forever. Thank you very much.
And thanks for calling.
Yeah.
You're talking about the 3 billion guarantee.
You see, Kendal, I'm glad you went there. You went to talk about the You see, the airline business is difficult business. Very difficult business. Since 9/11, I don't think any airlines have made any substantial profit. Any traditional airlines, probably new ones, yes. Now, Liat is, let me be the first to add, Liat has a lot of room for improvement, a lot of room for all kind of things, right? You can throw whatever stones you want at Liat, and it may be justified. Fact is, Liat is a reality. Secondly, the business of subsidizing airlines is nothing new. From international airlines, American Airlines, the American government, British Airways had to be privatized, Air France, all airlines, right? That's the fact. Having said so, let's look at the Liat situation. In St. Lucia, American Eagle, that is an established airline, wanted to go to the Barbados-St. Lucia route. Only Barbados-St. Lucia. We tried, it failed. The government subsidized American Eagle in cash, $7 million to keep the flights from Puerto Rico to St. Lucia. $7 million. We had to beg for a discount of 45%. We ended up paying American Eagle $4 million. Now, American Eagle we don't have one share in American Eagle. We have absolutely no say in what American Eagle does. We have a situation now to influence what Liat does. The Prime Minister was clear. He said that Liat must have some changes in it, the way it does its business. We know that. I've heard things about Liat changing its management. Liat has changed its management over and over again. These things have happened. Fact is, the airline business, as EC Express learned, as Caribbean Star learned, as Red Jet learned, the airline business is tough business. Plus the fact, Liat has to almost serve a national service, because there are some routes that will never be profitable. What do you do with the unprofitable routes? Okay, hold that thought. We have another call. Good evening, call. You're on the air.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi, thanks for holding.
I'm not a resident of Pave, but I frequent the Pave Road every day. Mr. Pierre, I want to congratulate you. I realize the court is back on stream. At least these young chaps will be off the road, because several times I pass them, my vehicle have to be playing football, you know, and all this kind of thing, ball hitting back, you know. I want to commend you for that, for a project that was abandoned, with people not seeing the how I'd say the profits of it for the youth of Pave. I want to say to you, bravo for bringing that project back on stream for the youth of Pave. And I would like to congratulate you for keeping your integrity intact for your entire political life. Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you, caller. Well, the court in Pave, I'm very happy that you are very happy with it. But it's not only Pave, you know, we are also improving the Marshall Grounds, and we are spending money on the Marshall Grounds, and we're going to be lighting the Marshall Grounds.
You just got some Taiwanese funding.
Some Taiwanese funds, and I want to tell you that the Pave court has been done by Taiwanese funds. It is under what is called the Constituency Development Program Taiwanese Fund. These are some of the projects that we've done with the Taiwanese. But
yeah, we have another call. Good evening, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Pierre.
Yes,
you're on air now and you're saying what you're saying there. I would love to believe what you've been saying on the air. But what I heard on the news last night about that $5 meal that you said you had never said, and when I saw the clip where you did say it, I don't think I can believe anything that you say after today, a day like today. So all the nice things you're trying to say there, I don't think I can believe what you're saying there, because you made it clear that you would never said so. It's a different individual saying. And Choice played the clip where you actually said it, and I heard it. So after today, I don't think your integrity, like everybody talking about your integrity, I don't think you own that in my mind at all again. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Caller, you have your opinion, and if your opinion is based on a fib at a Labour Party meeting, that's your opinion. I'm very happy with your opinion. I mean, but your rating of integrity is rather is at a level I don't understand. Here's what I said. And the five, and you know, we are trying to, you know, when there is nothing to say, we clutch at straws. HS made a favor about blocking a hole. You understand? The fact is, and I also made the fact, whether you think my integrity or not, over a talk of a $5 meal. Fact is, I said that if you have $5, you can block a hole. That is a fact. And I added that you may not get the nutritional value that you want. I said so. What I was doing, caller, was comparing the cost of basic food items, what the economist calls given goods, with the rest of the region. And fact is, you can buy with $5, you can get, and I also made a point, it may not have its nutritional value. So if you want to base integrity on that, that's your opinion.
Yeah. You have another call. Good evening, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, Brother Pierre.
Hi, good evening.
If I can just use this media to actually say congratulations to our party for not surviving, but for guiding this country through difficult times for the last 2 years. I think it's very important that you have proper people at the helm doing such a thing. I don't think any other party or any other leader with a good deputy like yourself would manage a country through such difficult times. St. Lucians have to understand that, you know, and we don't want to compare ourselves to our sister countries, and but we are doing very well looking at these times, and people must be appreciative of the type of leadership from Dr. Anthony and yourself, you know, in keeping this country afloat, keeping our economy running, keeping civil servants from losing their jobs. I think St. Lucians need to look deep and stop listening to those people on the other side. I don't want to mention the name because they really don't make any sense, but keep up the good work, and happy anniversary on this celebration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. You're making a point about the earlier
so,
3 million guarantee.
So fact is, Kendal, secondly, the government has not put money in LIAT. The Treasury has not put money in LIAT, as the Treasury put money in American Eagle, and the Treasury put money in WestJet. The Treasury has not put money in LIAT. The government is on record, the Prime Minister on record as saying he'll agreeing to guarantee a loan, right? What that means is signing on a piece of paper, and it becomes a contingent liability on the books of the government. In the event that the loan is not repaid, and then that loan is not a grant. That loan is going to be taken from the Caribbean Development Bank. The Caribbean Development Bank has done its own due diligence. In fact, incidentally, the Caribbean Development Bank, its ratings were just increased for good management and good credit worthiness. The bank just agreed to it. So the Caribbean Development Bank will do all the necessary checks and balances before the money goes in. So the government hasn't put money. The Treasury has not lost $3 million. What the government does is they'll sign on the bottom line. That's it. And not only the government in Lucia, several other governments. That's it.
Right. Let's take another call. Good evening. You're on the air. Hello.
Hi. Good evening.
Hi.
Minister, I want to applaud your government, you and your government, at the efforts that you all are doing towards bringing back St. Lucia towards the prominence that it once enjoyed in times past. We understand that we are living in very trying times, and I cannot imagine what would happen if we would have been under the government of the United Workers' Party at this critical point in time in this world economy as it is today. So I want to encourage you and the government of the St. Lucia Labour Party to continue remaining steadfast in your goals. Continue to be reminding the people of St. Lucia of the things that you promised that you were going to do before the last election, because we have a very short memory. And so that St. Lucians can realize that we will not just get excited about all of the hearsays that are being shared on all of the airwaves in St. Lucia, but we will look at the facts. And I'm so glad tonight that you are showing to us some of the facts. We want to look at facts and to understand really which direction that we need to go in St. Lucia. So, Minister Pierre, continue doing what you're doing. Be encouraged, be strong, and I trust that St. Lucia will be in good hands. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling. I also want to get your take on the suggestion that Liat be made an essential service. Is that something you support?
It's when Liat pilots will go on strike, and then people think of it. It just shows you the importance of Liat, and that's an important point.
Right.
And Liat is considered so important that some people think it should be treated like the fire service and the police. It just shows you how important Liat is, and that's a serious point. I think that should take some thinking. I don't think some people rush into it. I don't, because workers have their rights. The right of strike is a right all workers must use when they see it fit.
Right.
But I think that's something that cannot be just done. I think that would be a little drastic.
Okay. You have another call. Good evening. Hello, you're on the air.
Hello, good evening.
Hi.
Good evening to the host and Honorable Philip J. Pierre. Two things I'd like to touch on. I think an area we haven't talked about, looking at promoting employee assistance programs within the public service. There are a lot of troubled employees. I believe that it is a responsibility of public service.
Can you repeat that, Paula? Can you repeat that?
Pardon me?
What exactly you wanted to look at?
Promoting employee assistance programs.
Employee assistance.
Within the public service.
Okay.
There are troubled employees in various departments and areas. There are several examples, and I believe if we want productive environment or public service, we need to look at that, because a lot of times we put money in a lot of areas where we could probably see maybe other things happening, but I think we need to take a closer look in terms of our employees. And another thing, lately on TV, you notice a number of parents have come out to talk about some form of abuse against their children.
Right.
November 19th was actually International Day on Prevention of Child Abuse, and I think we need to revisit the Education Act so that corporal punishment is no longer in St. Lucia. Because emotional abuse, physical abuse, it really lasts for a lifetime in a child's life. And I think we need to make our children happy at school and to promote an environment free from abuse. Because we always say that parents are abusing their children and whatnot. But if abuse is happening in the school, we need to look at our society. And my last comment, I'd like to really applaud the government for the NICE program, because there are lots of persons who have never been employed, who are currently employed. And that's one of the achievements I'd like to highlight. Thank you.
And thank you so much for calling.
Thank you, caller. In terms of the corporal punishment and the child, and in terms of the Education Act, that is an issue that can be opened and can be debated. I agree with you. I am not an expert on that. There are some people who are for and some people who are against. I personally don't believe in corporal punishment. I have one daughter. I never hit her. I don't believe in corporal punishment. I never hit anybody. I don't believe in absolutely non-violent. But some people think it's violent. Some people think it's necessary. Some people say they grew up on corporal punishment and they're not the worst for it. I don't know. The jury is still out. I think that issue can be opened up, and if the majority of people believe it should be go one way or the other, the act can be amended. Laws were made to change. The second thing, in terms of employee assistance, I don't really know where you're going with that. I know that the government still gives study leave with pay. The government still helps people when they go to study at Alpha Lewis Community College to get their degrees. They still get some sort of help. I don't know if that's what you're speaking of. I don't know if you're speaking about financial assistance. I know CSA has a credit union. I don't. But if you are speaking about employer assistance in general terms, in medical terms, etc., I think that is something again you can look in when we are doing our collective bargaining. We can look at that. Yeah. Thanks for your comments on the night's program. We'd love to expand it, but it's costing, as I said, it's costing some money, and based on the deficit we have to be careful.
We have another call. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi.
Yes, I just want to congratulate the minister on the good job that they are doing, and do not let the distractors get to you. And another thing, I listened to Alan Shasley. Oh my goodness. I wonder where this man is living. He said that from the time Labour is in power, there's an upsurge of crime, and he's also made mention of you're using the country's the monies in any way. But he did worse. What did he do with the suffrage, with the money, the town council's money?
Yeah. Okay, caller. Thank you very much. Yeah. Subject of crime. She mentioned that Alan Shasley had accused the Slp Labour Party, was suggesting that crime had increased on the Slp Labour Party. It's unfortunate that crime has been politicized.
Very unfortunate.
There's a lot of talk post-election about the parties coming together and addressing crime, not making crime a political issue. The United Nations issued a report just last year showing that crime in the Caribbean generally is a major issue that's threatening the regional economies. So it's a serious issue, but let's take a call and then we can come back to that. Good evening, you're on the air.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
I'd like to thank your representative for coming on tonight. And it is important that when government ministers and governments are in power, that they come out and they speak on the issues that are affecting the nation and affecting the people of the nation. I have recognized that you've gotten a lot of support, and that is always good. But then there's always a flip side of the story.
Okay, and I suspect you're going to introduce that flip side.
I would like to see that the country is not in a good state. As much as his supporters may be trying to show that the country is in a good state, I know people in my workplace who've lost their jobs, who have gone home, come to work one day, and tomorrow learn the same day that they're out of a job, and they have loans to pay, and they have children to feed and mouths to feed. And this is just a reality of the economic condition. So when I see people by the road cutting grass and bringing in and cutting grass that will grow back the next day and the next month, it hurts my heart, because I'm saying these people could be placed in the Coconut Association in Soufrière, and it can be reopened, and they can really put in a contribution that can help this nation come out from the gridlock that it is in. When you tell me that the Bell Fashion factory in Dennery is closed up to this day, and nothing cannot be done with this factory, you're telling me that this country is failing its people. When you tell me that the people of Miku and the outer districts have to travel all the way to Castries to get a little job, and you're telling me step is the answer, this country is in turmoil. And there is nothing that any of these people can tell me that I'm seeing a green shoot coming out. The Uranora International Airport is falling down. The VG Airport is being considered to be closed. There are a lot of problems with this country. Now, this is not something bad to make the minister feel sad or dismayed. I'm saying this because he needs to open his eyes. We have real issues. We have real problems. The city of Castries is not tourism friendly. I see tourists who come here, and this is our main economic earner, and they cannot even walk our footpath without seeing a vagrant lying down in stench and looking very bad. You understand? You cannot see. They cannot. There's some of them who can't walk, and they can't even traverse the islands, not the island, but the footpaths in Castries, because it's for only people who walk. You know, and there are little things that can be done, especially since he holds a portfolio. There are little things that can be done in the city of Castries that could make the country look better, because it's our main port of entry, the seaport main port of entry. And Iranura Airport, I mean, for goodness sake, please do something with this airport. It is very sad. It is very, 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 very painful for St. Lucian to come into his own island and see the first port of entry is in a mess as it is today. Something was going to be done, you'll scrap it, but we need something to be done right now. I know you don't want to put the big airport that was planned. It was not, I guess for you, the economics was not adding up. But something needs to be done in the interim. This airport is falling down, and it is a shame. Our country has slipped down from from being number one in the OECS to fall into an island that has the population of the north, which is Dominica. And we need to open our eyes, St. Lucians. The government needs to shape up and stop spending lavishly. Stop putting opening on Tapillon and opening on building things. Right now, we need to fix up a broken system. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for calling. So you want to start on that?
Thank you very much, caller. Caller, you have a long list, and I took the time to write it down because I need to answer you one by one. You said losing jobs. I'm very, very, very sympathetic and very sorry for people who are losing their jobs. It's a very sad situation to lose your job, and people are losing jobs all over the world. I'm not saying it's right, and that is why the government's emphasis was jobs, 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 and that emphasis remains. I sympathize with anybody who is losing a job. Nothing for any of us to laugh or gloat about, but it's a situation that is real, that we need to deal with, and I dealt with. But whilst you're talking about losing jobs, you spoke about cutting grass. You say, caller, you can't have your cake and eat it. This is not, you know, there are a number of people in St. Lucia who worked in the banana plantations. They were the ones who did manual labor in the banana plantations. Bananas are no longer how they used to be. STEP serves two purposes. It creates a multiplier effect in the economy in that it creates disposable income for people who will spend it in the private sector, and it creates a level of expansion in the private sector in terms of the money supply, albeit temporarily. You cannot compare coconut growers with STEP. Coconut growers, it's a export industry, it's a manufacturing concern, it deals with exports, it deals with also. So the comparison is emotive, it sounds good, but in reality it's not.
Yes,
you spoke about bell fashion.
Hold on, let me take a call. We can come back to it. Good evening, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Yeah.
On several news clips I realized in the past month and couple of weeks, I keep hearing, is there something on the horizon? I keep hearing you saying, don't let me talk, and mouth open, story jump out. Is there something on the horizon coming that we don't know?
Caller, you must, we've got so very strict and we get so annoyed. Politics is political platform is not supposed to be always stiff and hard and rough. It's got to be jocular. You understand? We are living in a very small country. I don't think the tension that is being manufactured in the country is not necessary. On political platforms, we are very jocular. But coming to a serious point. Serious point is there is an investigation going on, and there's the investigation will come out soon. That's a serious point. Another serious point is there is evidence, which the evidence can come to the public, but it's a matter of timing. Nobody can tell me when I must disclose the evidence that I have. But I think we are too tight. We can't even make a joke. We can't even laugh again. Let's lighten up a little bit. Things are hard enough. We must lighten up a little bit.
When you say it, I laugh,
Yes,
but it makes me think that there's something.
Yes, there is an investigation going. The Prime Minister said there is a forensic investigation happening. The Prime Minister made that clear. It is happening.
Right, so you got your confirmation?
It's happening. Yes, there is investigation going on. There is one going on.
Maybe evidence is there and people are found culpable, will action be taken?
Well, once the evidence is there, action will be taken. It has to be taken. But again, we can't just go out and say things without we can't just say things. The investigation is happening as we speak, and when the results of the investigation are received, it will be made public. That's all I can tell you from now. But I want the public to lighten up a little bit. It's no this tension that we are recreating in our small countries is not necessary. Let's lighten up a little bit.
All right, thank you, caller.
Okay. So I'm thankful. Now we'll talk about the last caller. Yes,
yes.
I'm coming them one by one.
Yes,
he spoke about
he was critical about the STEP program, but he did have some points about the coconut factory.
Yeah, he said the coconut factory. The coconut. Let's get to Bell Fashion. Bell Fashion. And incidentally, last government was there for 5 years. They didn't open Bell Fashions. Bell Fashions, the kind of industry that Bell Fashions was dealing with, that industry is slowly dying for the simple reason we're not competitive. You see, Kendal, the world has changed. It changes every day. The countries, I don't know if you heard about the massive fires that was in Sri Lanka and them countries in these factories. Right. That is where that kind of manufacturing has moved to. It's moved to Vietnam, it's moved to Sri Lanka.
Everybody's outsourcing.
Everybody's outsourcing at the labor cost. And it's very sad to say the labor costs in St. Lucia are high compared to these countries. So
we've known that for a while.
Right. So Bell Fashions will not come back. It's something, it's a reality that will not happen. It can't happen. So this is wishful thinking. It can't come back because we just can't compete. Secondly,
the coconut growers.
The Coconut Growers Association, as we speak again, I know the Minister of Commerce is having a complete investigation, that's a wrong word to use, a complete re-engineering of the Coconut Growers Association. You see, again, these things, competition, Malaysia, that's your competition. The competition now, Kendal, is not Dominica and St. Vincent Barbados, it's the world. And there are other countries who have economies of scale. The problem with these agro industries is St. Lucia hasn't got the economies of scale. Whereas we may see we have other mangoes on the ground, it is not enough what the economists call economies of scale so as to have viable manufacturing concerns, large scale manufacturing. So we've got to go to the cottage type industries, and that's where standards come, etc. So it looks like we have a lot. We don't. We are minuscule.
And if the viewers listen to the manager of the agro-processing plant in Foassa when she was here, she did say
that's the problem. Thing. We don't have.
It appears to be a lot.
It's not a lot.
We can't really meet the demand.
And he spoke about Hiranora is falling down. I think the caller hasn't been to Hiranora Airport recently.
Can we take one more call before you answer that concern? Hi, good evening, caller. You're on the air. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, you're on the air.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, sir. Hi.
Mr. Pierre, I had a contract from CDP, but the Ministry of Infrastructure view fought. The technical men did the supervision. But now for the payments to go through, that the ministry is not held responsible for the work that is done because an official letter was not sent to the Ministry of Infrastructure to give directives to supervise this work. Now, the problem lies that the work is done. The work is on the ground, and there are problems that your ministry is to be blamed for that. I don't want to be blaming your ministry, because I believe verbal instructions were given. Verbal instructions were given. You know.
Yeah, caller, I understand. Caller, I'm so sorry to tell you that you will have to go to the ministry and to the deputy permanent secretary.
No, but I'm going to the ministry, but at least you as the minister.
So I will call him tomorrow and I will tell him. You want to tell me your name off the air?
I have been calling your secretary trying to make an appointment with you.
But you see, my secretary will not be able to help you with that, you know, and she knows I won't be able to help you because the information for that will have to come from the deputy permanent secretary. Because I don't, come on, caller, I empathize with the situation, but the minister will not be involved at that level of a contract going to an individual for payment. I mean, it's got to be something. I mean, if your minister did that, then you would have said to yourself, what is your minister doing? But if you tell me your name, if you want to, off the air, if you give me a number of the air or call me off the air when I'm finished, I will take your name, I will call my permanent secretary immediately, and I'll ask him to call you and see what's happening to you. I'm very sorry. I know you need your money. If you work, you need your money. But if you call me off the air, when you finish, I'm going to get the PS to call
you off the air when you finish?
When I am finished, yes. Call me
our
that
operator
number.
can take your number and name as well.
Or you can call the operator and just give her Give him the operator tonight. Now your number and name, he'll get to me. You'll be called tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were just in the Uonora issue.
Yeah. The caller hasn't been at Uonora Airport recently. Uonora Airport, as we speak, work is being done there. The whole thing is air conditioned now. The arrival, so I think the caller has not been there recently. I invite the caller to go and have a look. The caller says that we scrapped Uonora. There was nothing happened at Uonora. That's not true. There's nothing. There was no airport built at Uonora. The plan, the bank completely disregarded and threw out the plan because the bank was not satisfied with a member of the consortium. So that's not true. There was nothing happening at Uonora. Well, let me inform the caller that we're going to be building a fixed base, an FBO for jets. That's the first phase of the Uonora expansion, an FBO for jets. That the lease has been signed and the construction is going to start early in the new year. SASPA has just given a contract for the ceiling of the runway of Uonora Airport by tender. That's going to start. And the new terminal, Uonora Terminal, the government has taken a position. It's going to be done by a PPP, private public sector organization, and the IFC of the World Bank has been mandated to begin the process of handling, for it to be completely transparent, for there to be no accusations. The IFC has been employed to handle the transaction.
And that's a big deal for you, transparency. Let's move on. Take another call. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad.
And what's on your mind?
Yes, I have 3 questions that I would like to ask that hopefully will be addressed. Firstly, if I'm not mistaken, the Chamber of Commerce, I think most recently had discussions as it relates to the possibility of devaluing the currency. Certainly there will be pros and cons if in fact that does go through. And I'm wondering, Mr. Minister, what are your views on this proposed devaluing of the currency? Secondly, what would be your views as it relates to the possibility of maybe somehow the legislation being changed to mandate there be at least one compulsory debate when the time of elections come per constituency between each individual candidate going up in the 17 constituencies that we have on the island? And the third area would be okay, let's just deal with these 2 for now.
Okay. Caller, very good questions.
Thank you.
Very good.
I actually had a debate question down for you.
Caller, there's a debate question. We would welcome it. We'll welcome it, but it's got to be organized. It's got to be structured. And we would like to have a debate on facts. You can't have a debate where the debate is based on figures that nobody can find where they are. Where the debate is based on figures that come from anywhere, where the debate is filled with emotive and emotion. So I think the debates on the currency valuation are very, very serious, important economic conversation. I know Moody's have been making the shout, making the plea for devaluation of the currency. I know that, let me assure you that the currency can't be devalued so easily because the monetary policy, monetary board has to deal with it. The central bank is firm in that the currency should remain as is. That is a serious economic argument that has its pros and its cons. I know the EC dollar has had what is called stability. I also know that the EC dollar is pegged by a US dollar to every EC dollar. So that means that currency is strong. EC dollar is one of the strongest currencies around, I can say, in the region, in the world, sorry. So that argument for devaluation is not an argument that you can just sit and throw up in the air and say yes devalue or no devalue. But it's a point that people have to discuss. The conversation must be open, and the better minds and the best decision will contend. But it's a very serious issue. But I know Moody's have been making the point that the currency should be devalued.
We're running out of time quickly.
Yes,
a lot of questions still unanswered. Maybe we can have you back soon. But before you go, it would be remiss of me if I didn't ask you about Petrocaribe. There are a lot of concerns being expressed, not without good reason. Where do we stand now on Petrocaribe?
Petrocaribe, a work in progress. Negotiations are ongoing. You know, many countries in the region have benefited from Petro-Caribbean, benefited in the CS Petro-Caribbean. Petro-Caribbean has various aspects. It's very wrong to compare Petro-Caribbean with ALBA. Today I heard ALBA is a political union. That's not true. ALBA is an economic entity, not a political entity. ALBA doesn't mandate you to take any political positions. ALBA has right now given us a grant to build three new bridges. So we have begun to see the benefits. But Petro-Caribbean is a working progress. You see, each country, Kendal, negotiates for themselves. Petro-Caribbean is not one size fits all. Each country negotiates to the best of their ability. Now, we use a point that Guatemala left Petro-Caribbean. Guatemala is a sovereign country. If at the time it wasn't opportune, based on their own internal position, for Guatemala to remain in Petro-Caribbean, Guatemala left Petro-Caribbean. That may not be the case. Jamaica said they are going to stay. Right?
But Jamaica is also in a lot of debt to Petro-Caribbean, which is one of the concerns.
Exactly. Yeah. But the point is whether that debt what's the rate of that debt, what's the return on that debt, and where would Jamaica would have been if Petro-Caribbean did not exist. Right. So that's is what the economist calls cost and benefits. There's no free ride. But that debate is open. But to take a strong position that because Guatemala left Petro-Caribbean is bad or Petro-Caribbean is good, it's not a point. Let the ideas contend.
But it's also concern about the sustainability, because Venezuela has obviously its own issues. It's been giving away oil, well, for lack of a better phrase, giving away oil to its own detriment.
True. And you know,
and then where do we turn?
Exactly. Now, do you know Guatemala, Venezuela sells oil to the United States? Are you aware? Yeah. We in these islands we make the point as if Venezuela, what's happening in Venezuela is internal political strife, political parties that want political power. That's what happened in Venezuela. Venezuela is not a nation in crisis as people may want to believe. Venezuela has political issues which may be different to St. Lucia. But Venezuela has the world's largest oil reserves. And that's a point that we are forgetting. Venezuela has the potential to be one of the richest, because Venezuela, are you aware, do you know what's Venezuela's debt?
No.
Exactly. I mean, that's the problem. So when we look at Venezuela, because of economic, ideological, economic problem, economic issues, political, ideological differences, Venezuela seems to have political strife. But to look at Venezuela as if Venezuela is a pariah nation, that's not true. Venezuela has issues with the U.S., political issues, right? Which sovereign countries have with each other. But fact is, Kendal, the grants, as the Prime Minister said clearly, compare the grants being given to Israel and the grants being given to our islands. Point is, grant funding in any substantial way has been reduced substantially. You understand? So the islands have to look for grants and aid somewhere else.
Okay, so 30 seconds left. Where do we go from here?
Where do we go? So first of all, I really want to thank you for having me. I think we had a very good conversation. I want us to
be continued.
I hope so. Yeah. We want to raise the level of the debate. We love St. Lucia. I don't think anybody gets up and says, listen, I want St. Lucia to be destroyed. We have different views of how do we get there. I think the government has done very well in the 2 years, in spite, and I'm not saying that they have got of course we have problems. St. Lucia has many problems. St. Lucia has problems, but we must solve them. But I don't think it is good for us to hang our heads down in shame or develop a society of great tension, develop a society where falsities, where you quote wrong figures to make a point. I think we should let the ideas contend and let us work to make St. Lucia improve based on the fact that we are living in a serious times where it's a new normal. We are heading for a new normal. What is normal before is not going to be normal now. The world is in the whole economy right now. I was saying to a friend of mine, an economist friend of mine, that is not now is the arithmetic, the economics of arithmetic. It's not the economics now of development. It's arithmetic, whereas you have to meet certain ratios. So despite what you do, you've got to meet these ratios to be able to hand to work in the world. And these ratios are tight. Some of them are deficit ratios, you have to meet them. So it's a very difficult environment. It's not very easy. You can't speak glibly about things. We have to think properly. We have to use our resources properly, and St. Lucia will prevail. St. Lucia is a resilient country. The majority of the people in St. Lucia are very hardworking. They want to progress. Let's work together to make it progress.
Okay, we're out of time. Thank you so much for being with us this evening.
We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. And thank you for watching and for calling. Join us next week for another Newsmaker Live with me, Kendal Berton. See you then.